It's Madam J, baby, you know. It's Madam J, baby, you know.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jessica, aka Madam J, and today we are going to talk about a hot topic. It might seem like a hot topic, but in reality, it really is very important. So before we get into it real quick, I just want to talk a little bit about myself. So I've been natural for 9 years. It's actually going to be 10 years in December of 2022, and I'm super excited. I made a lot of mistakes going through my journey. I used to straighten my hair every 2 weeks. I did a big chop after 6 years of transitioning, and you know what? My hair is healthier than ever. I did the hard work so you don't have to, so make sure you check out my High Porosity Hair Guide for my High Porosity Curlies. Okay, so let's get into it. So we're gonna learn about some hair porosity today, okay? What is hair porosity? In a nutshell, hair porosity is your hair's ability to retain and absorb moisture. It is generally defined into 3 different categories. So low porosity means your cuticles are close together. Normal or medium porosity means that your cuticles are less tightly bound, and high porosity means your cuticles are more widely spaced. So how exactly is hair porosity created? In a lot of cases, your genetics are going to play a role in it. But in other cases, what you do to your hair can also change your hair porosity. So too much manipulation can actually alter your hair's porosity. So this is things such as bleaching your hair, coloring your hair, blow drying, flat ironing, relaxing your hair, and just using too many chemicals in your natural hair in general. So because I have high porosity hair, I tend to share more tips about that, but I am going to be talking about both. So I've had my hair, since my big chop, I've had my hair lightened once and colored 3 times. Colored or bleached hair is naturally more porous. Dyeing your hair actually breaks down the protein in your hair and can expose your hair to even more damage. So it's important to make sure you have a great and consistent routine in place to keep your hair strong and healthy. So why is knowing your hair porosity important? Okay, sis, let me put you on game. Knowing your hair porosity is important because a lot of the hair products you use may have different ingredients such as protein and other ingredients that may not work the best for your hair. So let's say you have low porosity hair. If you have low porosity hair, your hair is naturally protein sensitive. So if you're using just any product on the shelf just because it looks nice or a lot of people use it, it may not work for you. It may actually make your hair worse. In turn, if you have high porosity hair and are using products that are not super moisturizing or are stripping your hair, you also may be making your hair worse. So to make things more simple when you're searching for your hair products, the key difference is really going to be based in the protein, or if there is or isn't protein in that specific product. You want to look out for proteins if you're low porosity. You want to add more proteins if you're high porosity. If you're low porosity, you're more likely to be able to get away with just using regular conditioner. If you're high porosity, you better be including that deep conditioner in your every week routine. So as we're talking about protein, I don't want it to get mixed up. Everybody still needs protein, regardless of your hair porosity. But the amount of times that you use it is different based on your porosity. So for a protein treatment, low porosity might use that once a month. For high porosity, you might use that twice a month, or just depending on how your hair feels, what state it's in. So I'm actually going to be showing you 2 different tests to be able to determine your hair's porosity. But before I get into that, I'm actually going to give you some characteristics of each hair porosity. Okay, so if you have low porosity hair, it probably takes your hair 10 million cajillion hours to dry. Number 1. Number 2, it also takes your hair very long to get wet. So during wash day, you might be washing for hours because it is taking a long time for the water to penetrate your hair because your cuticles are more closely together. But hey, it's not all bad. If you have low porosity hair, your hair is probably more silky and smooth. So make sure you're using products that are lighter versus heavier so you're not weighing your hair down. Also, make sure that you apply heat when you are deep conditioning or doing your regular conditioner to help the conditioner really penetrate. Okay, where my high porosity curlies at? Hey girl. So if you have high porosity hair, your hair allows moisture to be absorbed easily, so our hair gets wet very quickly on wash day, but it also snatched that joint right back. And the reason why our hair dries so quickly is because our cuticles actually have gaps in between them, so it's hard for the moisture to stay closed in. So if you have high porosity hair, your hair dries very quickly after being washed. You have bumpy hair follicles, your hair tangles easily, breaks easily, but the products and the water absorb very quickly, but your hair is dry, parched, or frizzy most of the time. So some tips for high porosity hair: try pre-pooing before you shampoo to help really reinforce that moisture. Make sure you deep condition weekly. Do a protein treatment once or twice a month. Use a leave-in if you need extra moisture as you're doing your wash and go or your twist out, whatever you decide to do. Wash your hair in 4 sections to make sure you can really allow the products to penetrate. If you decide to get your hair colored, make sure that you go to a professional stylist instead of using box dye to make sure that you're preserving your hair and your natural texture. Also, lastly, make sure you shampoo and condition using lukewarm or cool water instead of hot water, because that may actually open up the cuticles too much. Okay, so the last part of this instructional video, I'm going to show you 2 different ways to test your hair's porosity. So let's go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a cup of water, and normally I would use a glass cup, but because all of my glasses are actually dark blue, you won't be able to see it, so I'm actually using just a regular cup. Okay, so I have my cup, and you want to make sure that you are using a clean strand of hair. So I recommend doing this on your wash day. I actually did trim a little bit on wash day, so I'm going to use some of that hair. So all we're going to do is just drop the strand or strands of hair into the cup, and we're going to allow that to sit for 2 to 4 minutes to determine what it's going to do. And as you see, mine is already going to the bottom. So I split some of my strands up so you could see that yes, I am definitely high porosity, and it's not just because I put them in a clump. If you can see that, all of my strands have hit the bottom. So for the results of the water porosity test, if the strand of hair floats to the top of the glass, it's low porosity. If it sinks to the bottom of the glass, it's high porosity. And anything in between that is going to be medium or normal porosity. So the second method for determining your hair porosity is actually pretty simple. It's called the Strand test. So you're basically doing what it says. You're going to investigate one of your strands or a few of your strands just to see how they feel. So when you run your finger down your strand, if you're low porosity, this will actually feel smooth because the cuticles are more closed. If you're high porosity, it will actually feel rough and bumpy because your cuticles are actually open. Okay, so just to recap, we did a whole spiel on what hair porosity is, how it's determined, some tips for it, and how to actually do the test. I seriously hope this helped you understand what hair porosity is and why it's important to know. If you need more help and you're a high porosity curly, I have a high porosity hair guide available on my website that's linked in my description. It has tips, recommendations, a recommended wash day routine, a hair calendar, goal setting tips, everything that you need to be successful for your natural hair journey. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more instructional content like this, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. It's your girl, Jessica, aka Madam J, baby. And I'll see y'all next time. Have a beautiful day.